Dear colleagues, welcome. This is the 30th of June, and my name is Natalia Staroprava. So today we are beginning the series of our briefings, and our first guest today is Serhii Cvikac, Chief Executive Officer at UkraineInvest. We will be talking about relocation to Ukraine guide. So I represent UkraineInvest, which is governmental institution, and we are trying to invest and support, to attract and support investments. UkraineInvest Guide is one of the manuals, guidelines that we developed back in 2020. This is ABC for investors, about the advantages, about the future prospects for investments, etc. We haven't stopped working since 24th of February, and we believe that this information needs updating on regular basis because investors need to understand what has changed and what sectors of economy are more promising or which are less promising, and how they can be involved in rebuilding Ukraine. Therefore, we called our guide UkraineInvest Guide, Rebuilding Ukraine with Private Sector. The document itself is divided into 4 parts. We do the assessment of losses that were inflicted by the aggression of the Russian Federation, because it shows us which sectors need rebuilding, and also sectors that need investing and are ready for investments and are ready to make profit. We understand all the caveats, we understand all the dangers and threats. Therefore, we have additional sectors of this program, which are about the joint programs with the foreign partners. It could be, for example, a private investment insurance program, which is very important. Also, we are talking about incentives, governmental incentives for investment projects. At the moment, we have at least 2 laws that regulate incentives. This is called, one of them is called the Governmental Support of Investment. And together with the Ministry of Economy, we have developed the changes and amendments to laws and bylaws so that this system is even friendlier to our investors and is easier for investors to assess. And another law is about the industrial banks. So this law was enacted in the second hearing, but we are going to talk about it a bit later. Another part, another sector of this UkraineInvest guide is about the potential of Ukraine's participation in global and regional chain of supply. Why is it important? Because Ukraine needs to be rebuilt on a new level. This is Ukraine 2.0 version. So this is Ukraine which bases the development of its industry on the added value products, and we need to transit from the raw material export country to the country which will be processing raw materials inside the country and will export the products with the higher added value. The investors need to see these prospects. They need to know where it is happening, how the government can provide the supportive hand, and when they can invest. Our program, which is investment attraction program, is divided into 2 parts. The first part is analytical, the one that we are presenting today, and we are going to send this information to all foreign investors, all partners, all those who might be interested in investing in Ukraine. And second part, which is the presentation of specific investment projects. Because the world is very positive towards Ukraine at the moment. They are interested in Ukraine. Nevertheless, they will be investing in Ukraine only when they see specific investment projects with proper calculations. Therefore, our second part is cooperation with Ukrainian business, which has proven that they are ready to work with the foreign investors, those who have good reputation, business reputation. We urge those companies to approach us. We will make the investment portfolio for them, and they will be ready to accept investments. Speaking of investments, as of today, you have probably heard, and some business entities already know about that, the first significant investment project was announced by the company Kingspan, which is Irish company, and they are making products in advanced insulation and energy efficient building solutions. So they are ready to invest 20 million euros in a new building technology campus in Ukraine, and 600 jobs will be created. As of today, UkraineInvest is assisting this company. We are providing them help with finding the land, getting all the permits issued, all the documents arranged. Once the project the project has been announced recently, but soon I hope it will move into implementation stage. We are also going to talk about that during the conference in Lugana, which is going to happen on the 4th and the 5th of July. On the 5th of July, there will be an event called the participation of private business in rebuilding Ukraine. There will be a Kingspan concept presented during this event, and also we will be talking with the partners from Switzerland, worldwide, how private business can be involved in rebuilding Ukraine. So that was in a nutshell about UkraineInvest Guide, Rebuilding Ukraine with Private Sector. If you have any questions, I'm ready to comment. You mentioned the Irish company. Could you tell us more how foreign companies and partners are ready to help Ukraine? Why is it important for them? It is very important for foreign partners to help Ukraine because, first of all, we here in Ukraine are fighting for our values, our freedom, and for their values as well. So democratic values that are shared by the whole world. So we are protecting not only our territory, but their territory as well, their land as well. So we are fighting for all the positive things in the world. Therefore, foreign partners appreciate that, they value that, and of course, among foreign partners, there are foreign investors. Therefore, they have plans and they are ready to assist us in rebuilding our economy, our infrastructure, our economy sectors, etc. And this is going to happen soon. We already have one good precedent, Kingspan. We are being emotional, but positively emotional, and we know that foreign partners are ready to help, but first of all, we need to help ourselves. If we fail to present quality investment projects, if Ukrainian business fails to present itself properly on the global level, this interest might subside. Therefore, I urge all business representatives, those who have such plans, please approach us, please contact us, as we will help you with your investment projects, with your investment ideas. We will make them look good and attractive, and that will be perceived well by foreign investors. How do you convince investors to invest during the wartime? This is part of our Invest Guide, by the way. So it's called Rebuilding Ukraine by Private Sector and with private sector. So we are trying to involve private companies, and we are talking about the prospects of investing in Ukraine in specific sectors that have good potential for development. I'm talking about sectors that will be involved in rebuilding Ukraine and providing the needs of our people, our population, and our export capabilities. We are talking about investment incentives, advantages of our country. Unfortunately, some of the advantages emerged during the war, but this is the cost, for example, of labor in Ukraine and the low cost of Ukrainian assets. We understand that this might be temporary situation, and foreign investors also understand that this is temporary situation. Therefore, they are ready to invest today in order to get their revenue in the coming years. And we are talking about Ukraine that has to be involved in regional and global chain of supply. Therefore, we need to manufacture the products with the added value, the product that has high potential, good potential for supply markets. These markets make 800 million people. How did war affect business in Ukraine today? Well, of course, it had negative impact. How else it could be? Here, we should not be talking about the impact, but we should be talking how Ukraine responds to this impact, how Ukraine shows its resilience, its capability, its strengths to respond to the situation. We know that the government of Ukraine introduces different programs, such as taxation privileges, such as assistance to business, 0% interest loans, etc. Ukraine not only focuses on the military activity and military efforts, but Ukraine also takes care of economy, which is no less important than military sector. And this is very important for foreign investors and for Ukrainian business as well. The direct losses to cost to infrastructure and the housing in Ukraine is more than $1 billion. And the economy suffered losses almost $1 trillion. So these are astronomical figures, exorbitant. And we need to attract new investment in order to rebuild our country, our homeland. Speaking of losses, I know that metallurgical sector suffered a lot. So the reduction was 35% because all raw materials were based in the east of Ukraine. Other sectors, for example, chemical industry, machine building industry, automobile industry, so all those sectors suffered. But the most important thing is how we respond. As of today, the response is quite good, but we need to move on to the stage of providing specific analytic materials and analytical programs for investors and partners. How and why we should invest in Ukraine, like ABC of investing in Ukraine, and why we should work with Ukraine. Can you talk about the prospects? How the industrial development space is going to change during the wartime, under war conditions? To be honest, I don't think that we will have like hundreds, dozens of investment projects. Of course, investors analyze situation in Ukraine, and we understand that in short period of time, the aggressor spent $200 million US dollars on missiles just to destroy our infrastructure, to destroy our residential sector, destroy shopping malls. Of course, it's negative. It has negative effect, but it's not everlasting effect. After it's over, the industry, the economy will start rebuilding very fast. After the war is over, we have to understand that we will still be living to this next door neighbor who is very unpredictable. That's the terrorist state, because they take territories and people hostages. They use all possible mechanisms in order to achieve some objectives and goals not understandable to anybody. Of course they will suffer, of course they will lose, but it'll take time. In order to attract investors in our sector, we need the program of investment insurance. At the moment, we are working with foreign partners, and this is bilateral programs. We, as Ukraine Invest, are now in negotiation with the partners from EU, from North American countries, and other countries in order to make sure that we ensure their investments, that entrepreneurs who enter Ukraine have certain assurance that they can work and develop their investment activity here. And of course, incentives that I had mentioned earlier and the government support. We need to get rid of bureaucratic obstacles. We cannot possibly afford that during the martial law, wartime, the investor comes to our country and they have to wait in line before they get the permits for development projects, or, for example, get the permit to get to join the electricity networks, and it takes 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half. We have to do all possible in order to get rid of those bureaucratic procedures. Ukraine has to turn into the country where investment ideas turn into investment projects within a few hours, 1 hour, not within months, within half a year, etc. It has to be done fast. Our guest was Serhiy Tsivkach, Chief Executive Officer of Ukraine Invest.